The number one enemy of truth is belief. And science is 99% belief and authority. When I make this claim, some people don't understand what I'm saying. Leo, how could it be that science is 99% belief? Well, how could it be otherwise? Of course it's belief. What is science but belief? It's 99% belief. If you don't understand that science is 99% belief, the reason you don't understand is because you don't actually understand what a belief is. See, most people misunderstand belief to be either crazy religious ideas, they call that belief, or belief in their mind is something that isn't true. But that's not what belief means. A belief, and here is where you need to do some introspection work. You can introspect and actually contemplate what a belief is and have a direct experience of what a belief is. Feel yourself holding a belief, any belief, and you'll soon realize what beliefs are. So, for example, you believe that I'm real. I could just be a computer simulation here. I could be just an AI invented by Google teaching you this stuff. But you believe I'm a real human. You've never seen me, but you believe I'm a real human. That's a belief you hold. You believe that the Earth has a rotation, that it rotates every 24 hours. You believe that. You have no direct experience of this. You've never seen it actually happen. You've never tested it or verified it in any way. You believe that the Earth rotates. Now, you'll object here and you'll say, well, Leo, but this has been tested by scientists and has been validated, so it's not a belief. No, it's still a belief. In fact, you have a belief that it's been validated by scientists because you've actually never checked whether it was validated by scientists. You just believe that. So you have a belief wrapped inside of a belief. Now, you have many other beliefs. You believe that your parents, for example, are actually your parents. You've never checked, have you? Have you actually gotten a DNA test? Maybe you have, in which case it's no longer a belief. But there's still a belief that the DNA test is actually valid. That's a belief. So you have to trust the DNA test. But let's just assume that all DNA tests are valid. And in which case, if you did get a DNA test that told you that your parents are actually your parents, then now that's no longer a belief. But did you actually do that? Probably not. You say, well, Leo, but I could. I bet you if I went and I checked the DNA of my parents, I didn't do it because it costs money. But if I really wanted to, I could do it. And then they would be my real parents. That's a belief. Because if you haven't done it yet, then it's a belief. See? You believe that your hand is made out of atoms. You've never seen these atoms. You've never actually done any experiments to prove these atoms. You believe it. You say, well, Leo, I've seen pictures, I've seen YouTube videos of atoms where like they take a microscope, a scanning electron microscope, they zoom into, whatever, and they actually can see little individual ball atoms. And I've seen pictures like that. So atoms are not a belief, but that's a belief. You're believing that those microscopes and those pictures are showing you atoms which correspond with actual stuff inside your hand. That's a belief. You're believing those videos. You say, no, Leo, but that was real science. It was verified by a bunch of peer-reviewed people at Harvard. Yeah, that's a belief. And also an appeal to authority. See? Science is a pyramid scheme of belief, built upon belief, so tightly that once you find yourself inside of this pyramid, you can't see any way out. Every belief is justifying every other belief, and it becomes extremely convincing. This belief system then takes on a reality of its own. My question to you is, have you actually ever done any science in your life? Ever? For most people, the answer is no. Isn't it amazing that over 90% of the entire population of this planet has never done a single science experiment ever? And they take all of science as true. Isn't that amazing? This is utterly mind-blowing when you really contemplate this. This should shake you to your bones. Just this simple fact. I'm not making any outrageous claims here. I'm just stating basic facts about science. Facts that they really should have taught you in school, but of course they didn't, for obvious reasons. You see, science has this very interesting problem. I call it the overleveraged problem. Science is way overleveraged, like a bank. I use this term from the banking industry. When we have economic collapses, how do they happen? Banks become overleveraged. They lend out way too much money. They don't have enough actual gold or currency in their reserves to cover any kind of loan defaults, or if everybody makes a run to the bank, they don't have enough money to cover everybody. And then the bank can collapse and the economy can explode. There can be bubbles and this sorts of stuff. And the reason this over-leveraging happens is because a bank is always supposed to keep some sort of minimum amount of currency or gold in their coffers, so to speak, in their vaults to ensure against a run on the bank's money. And the federal government usually sets that at like 10% or 5% or 20%. I don't know what the rate is right now, but usually it's somewhere around maybe, let's say, 10% of the bank's total assets need to be actually tangible. So it's not just, fake money. But some banks become so overleveraged that they only have like 1% hard assets. The rest, 99%, is just loans and, certificates of deposit and all those kinds of things like this, intangible assets. And so they become very vulnerable. Well, science has exactly this problem, because if 99% of science is belief, which it is, and if over 90% of the population on the planet has never done a single science experiment, do you see the problem here? The problem is that there's so much room for error that you would never even know is there. Now you're going to say, but Leo, the majority of science, the majority of scientific beliefs, they can all be validated, and they have been validated by peer review and so forth. That's a belief. See, that's a belief. But even if it's true, let's grant it to you. Let's say the majority have been validated. First of all, again, it's a belief. You're just blind to believing that. Second of all, a majority is still not that much. Even if 95% of all scientific beliefs have been validated by peer review, that still leaves a 5% that haven't. That's very significant. 5% is very, very significant. Those 5% can kill you. So I am not claiming that the majority of scientific beliefs are empirically fallacious. I'm claiming something more subtle than that. I'm claiming that there's a subtle and very deep over-leveraged problem here. And this creates a sort of a bubble. It creates these intellectual bubbles that will burst in the future when someone like me comes along and challenges them sufficiently enough. And this is what creates paradigm shifts in science, as Thomas Kuhn talks about in his classic book on the scientific revolutions. But the history of science is a history of scientific revolutions that are caused by these intellectual bubbles, because it's a pyramid scheme. What did you think science was? It's a pyramid scheme. And so lurking within this pyramid scheme are gargantuan truths which no scientists understand, and you don't understand because you believe they don't exist, because you just basically buy the entire pyramid scheme and you just assume that the whole thing is true and real, and that's the end of the story. And the only thing left is just a little bit of minor, adjustments on the outside. But no, there are monstrous errors and problems and truths lurking within the very center of that pyramid scheme that you've never personally tested.